Welcome to the Intuitive Rising podcast. I'm your host, Amy Brooks. This is a podcast that invites you to remember who you are, return to yourself, and rise into your highest and best soul self. Every week, I will be sharing inspiring conversations about topics that hold keys to your awakening. My mission as an international evidential psychic medium, Reiki practitioner, and intuitive mentor is to help you rise into who you were born to be. Enjoy the show. Hello, everyone. Welcome back. Happy May to you. Wow, 5th month of 2024. Time is flying. I don't know about you. And we're here today to bring forward to channel the guidance for the month of May 2024. So, as you guys know, I pull a tarot, an oracle, and a soul's journey lesson card for each month of the calendar year, and I let you guys know about what that kind of brings forward, what the energy forecast is, and then I channel some guidance. I also will take a moment to tap in to the number, color, and animal totem of the month as well. So let's get right into it. So I've already pulled the 3 cards that is needed for this channeling to begin. I'm going to start with tarot, and the card that comes forward for us is the Ace of Wands. I feel like this makes a lot of sense given kind of the energetics of May, even in an astrological sense. There's a lot of things happening, a lot of good things happening. So the Ace of Wands is really about new ideas, new potentials, new inspiration. So Wands is, represents the element of fire, and Ace is beginning. So something is lighting us up this month, and we need to pay attention to those divine downloads that we receive. We have an idea. In this moment, I'm hearing, like, for example, you might have an idea about something and you're like, interesting. And then later on, you hear somebody talking to something that's related to that, or somebody asks you a question or asks you if you do a certain thing and you're like, I was just thinking about doing that. Pay attention to those kind of things this month, because that's the way that you're going to be receiving confirmation from the universe, validation from your higher self that you are on the right track. Now, I do feel in this moment also to let you know that you don't need another's validation to get started, but it does feel like, what I'm hearing is that your higher self will bring you those kind of pieces of confirmation or validation in a roundabout way, but we don't need to depend on them. We're really trying to learn how to trust our own intuitive nudges, right? So new ideas, new potentials, kind of a flurry of creativity is the word I'm hearing. Flurry. Let's hope that does not mean we're going to get any late season snow here in Canada. It's just starting to warm up here where I sit. So flurry of creativity. So we might be feeling like we want to tackle some projects, get started on some things around the house. Maybe we're just feeling more inspired to start something, a passion project that we want to work on. Whatever it is, pay attention to your ideas, pay attention to your dreams. I had a crazy one last night. I don't know what that was all about, but, and allow yourself to have an outlet for your creativity this month. So, that could be hard work is what I'm hearing. It could be that some of us are needing to kind of light that fire under our bum and get started on some things. Wink, wink. I know that's my spirit guide. It's like, wink, wink, Amy. So allow yourself to have that channel of creativity. I am seeing in this moment somebody with a thick paintbrush, and it's like they're painting a plank of wood. It almost reminds me of someone painting some furniture, a deck, a fence. So maybe this is a nod to one of you listeners wanting to start some sort of home renovation project, or just kind of prettying something up around your home. It feels like this is the month to do it. Okay. Your body really wants to be your channel this month is what I hear. So a lot of us, especially during, I feel, Aries season, there's almost like this overwhelm or disconnect a little bit with our minds and our bodies. And our minds were like going a mile a minute. And our bodies were like struggling almost to keep up, right? So it feels like this month is more of an alignment of the head and the heart, also the mind and the body. So you're being asked to do that channeling with your body in a physical way. So rather than lose yourself in a kind of mental task all the time, look to lose yourself in a physical task. This kind of reminds me a little bit of yesterday. I was doing a mediumship reading for a client, and her grandpa came through, and it was a lovely reading. I'm actually going to record a podcast about some of the things that came through, so stay tuned for that. That probably will be coming out for next month, or next week rather. But one of the things that her grandpa brought up was kind of really losing himself at times in some menial kind of tasks, right? And actually finding joy in those things. So this man was a war veteran, and he had explained to me, I didn't come back the same from war that I had gone to war. I was different when I came back, and I struggled a little bit. And so he was saying, I found joy in things like, he showed me somebody washing windows, somebody repairing something, somebody painting the fence, like these kind of menial physical tasks brought him a sense of peace because he was able to be in the moment. It was very rhythmic. It was all like a form of meditation. So this month, I kind of feel the reason that's coming forward as an example to give to you is that some of us might be kind of so focused on the mental and the spiritual growth when it comes to our mindset and our, mentality, our belief system, our limiting self beliefs, that it's almost become too much. Like it feels like we need a little bit of, I'm seeing like when there's like a channel and it's not moving super fast, it's almost like clogged, and then something comes in and it helps the channel move better, right? Think of like a pipe, right? A sink that's clogged, and then something comes in and it helps that flow come in more. So the flow for this month in May is going to be getting in your body. And I feel like this makes perfect sense for me when I think about, and I know I've talked on this podcast before about Taurus energy, and we are we're firmly planted in Taurus energy for a good majority of the month of March, and the month of May. And whenever Taurus season comes around, there's always been a big focus on the physical for me, the body, my health. I've been able to look back in hindsight and notice that like big major changes I've done with my body or my health or my mindset around both always seem to happen in Taurus season. So I find that kind of interesting. And so that reminds me of that. And I want you to allow your body to be your channel this month. Get cracking on those things that you need to do. And it feels like that's how you will channel energy this month. That's how you will channel information this month. And that leads not only to your tasks being done, but it leaves your brain and your mind kind of a little bit of respite, right? Because it's like, we can take a step back because she's kind of just losing herself in that task. Okay. So we've got that coming into, there's also a feeling of time almost like speeding up a little bit for us in the month of May. It feels like, we're going to be like, whoa, it's the middle of May. Where did that month go? It feels like the days will be flying a little bit. And again, that can make us feel a little bit ungrounded at times. And so that is probably why I hear from Spirit that we need to be in our bodies and do those menial tasks, right? Focus on something that makes you get into the flow or get into the zone, as I like to call it. It could be active forms of meditation, right? But remember, meditation is not a one size fits all kind of thing. We can meditate when we are painting a fence, right? Because we get into the zone. So keep that in mind as well. If you're feeling a little bit overwhelmed or you're feeling like time is flying and it's stressing you out, get back into your body and do something rhythmic and a little bit mindless where you can lose yourself in it. I also see somebody running in this moment. Now, I used to be a runner. I should say, once a runner, always a runner. My heart is, I mean, my heart, I'm still a runner. Up until I had an injury in my leg that's kind of kept me from running regularly anymore. Although that's something I really want to get back to because it felt like magic to me once I got into running. Like I totally understood what a runner's high is. All that to say, maybe one of you are also starting something like that, that you're going to choose your kind of in the zone meditative kind of physical channeling outlet in your body, running, jogging, walking at a really fast pace. And if that is you and that's something that has been in your mind and you've been thinking about doing it, this is your sign. Okay, here's your sign. It's time to do that. Allow yourself to do that. And manifestation, it's a big manifestation month. So, it's kind of this interesting, like, we're slowing down in some sort of way, or we might perceive that we're slowing down because it's just our mind that's slowing down, right? That's what's coming in. It's like you might perceive that something's slowing down because your mind is not running a mile a minute, but you're actually accelerating the process faster. So by taking a moment to be in the moment, to be present, to be in the zone, right? Losing yourself in a task gives your brain a little bit of a break, helps that creative flow and that channeling come through a little bit easier, which accelerates the process and, in fact, grounds us, but also allows us to be manifesting magnets, is what I'm hearing in this moment. So that feels like your recipe for success and alignment for the month of May. Let's move forward to our tarot card. So I felt called to pull from the Starseed Oracle by Rebecca Campbell. And the card that we received for April, our message is you got the love. Okay. So you got the love. So this is about Hadrian energy. And according to Rebecca, the Hadrians are beacons of love and channels of divine unconditional love. So there's a focus on unconditional love. I do kind of love the correlation here with the Ace of Wands and allowing our brains to rest a little bit and getting our stuff done, but also the focus on the Taurus energy that I brought through and on the body and being in the body and potentially doing something nice for the body, right? And then this is about unconditional love. And it feels like there might be a focus for some of us on healing our relationships with our bodies. That's what's coming up in the moment. But this is about kind of like when you've got this kind of energy, right? And a lot of highly sensitive people do. And I know my listeners are a lot of highly sensitive people listening. We have this kind of energy about us that we can blend very easily with another person. And that, is an asset when you are a channel, when you're a psychic medium, right? We want to blend with other people's energy for that moment, but we need boundaries around that blending. Otherwise, we're just open and blending all the time, which is not what we want. That was Amy, like, 5 or 6 years ago. And that it may be some of you that are listening, they're just kind of energetic sponges. So that's an asset when it comes to, working with your energy and unconditionally loving another person and being, that safe space and that lighthouse, that beacon for them. But, that also can lend itself to us blending so much with other people that it's hard to distinguish what is ours and what's another person, right? Hello, anxiety, right? It might be that we are very enmeshed with people in our lives. We don't have strong boundaries, right? That maybe we have some codependent relationships where we don't know, where we end and another begins. And there's kind of all this wishy-washy, dreamy kind of Hollywood romance when we think about things like this. Like, oh, we want to blend and soulmates and we're two hearts beat as one and all this. And that's great, right? But I think what I'm hearing from the spirit is some of you are taking that a little bit too literally, right? You're separate, but you're the same, you're joined, but you're separate. And let's try to like make that make sense a little bit more. We are learning those of you who are receiving this message and resonate with the things I've said so far about it, we are learning how to love as separate beings. We already know how to love unconditionally. We already know how to understand and walk in another's shoes, right? We know how to do that. So some of us have found ourselves in codependent relationships, right? We've all heard about empaths and narcissists. That's a little bit about what I'm talking about here sometimes too, because those energies do collide and attract very often, because we've got one energy that really wants to just be enmeshed and be one with another person, and so giving and so loving, and then another who feeds off of that, right? So those, the moth to the flame, right? Maybe we'll talk about that in a future episode, because I definitely have lots of personal experience on that front. But this kind of reminds me, this message reminds me a little bit of sometimes when I'll do a higher self reading, I'll pick up on a certain kind of lesson, right, for a person. And I have picked up many times that there's some of us that are here that are, we are learning how to relate and work with the collective and understand that we are not separate, that we are all one. And we're learning that unconditional love for others. And that's kind of a younger soul energy, right? According to Ainsley MacLeod, who's a wonderful past life psychic, he has talked about this in his books, and I brought this through in higher self readings. But the older souls in the crowd, a lot of you guys listening here, we're not learning how to love another. We are now learning how to love ourselves as well as love another. And that's a focus of this card, right? Learning how to love yourself as a separate being. Self-love focus this month. There's a focus on healthy boundaries this month. I wrote down, the love you seek is already within. And this is really resonating with me. Yesterday, at the time of this recording, yesterday I posted in my stories a reel that was kind of talking about this, like happy. We've been taught to look for happiness outside of ourselves for our whole life, only to discover that the happiness we seek has always been within. So that's a focus as well this month, right? And this is why I think that being in the body and getting lost in a task is going to be really helpful for us, right? It's going to help us learn that lesson, to embody that lesson a little bit more, like true embodiment. Got goosebumps as I say that. This is a month to review relationships. By taking that time out, allowing your mind to rest and having a focus on boundaries, where you need boundaries are going to be more apparent. If and when you need a boundary is going to be more clear to you, because you've allowed space for that to come in, right? You've set your intention that you want to review relationships. You want to receive more information about aligned relationships versus relationships that need to be tweaked or left behind. And, this month I feel very much that we're going to get it. So review your relationships. What's not working anymore and why? As you step further and further into your authentic self, you will find that you just don't align so well with certain people, right? Certain people are going to find you. Certain new people are going to find you. Certain relationships that you already have are going to become stronger and more aligned. And then there's going to be other relationships that just naturally kind of fall away. It feels like what I'm hearing is there's no real drama about it. It's just we naturally kind of grow apart. So we may be finding ourselves in that place lately as well. And just know that that's okay. That's what happens as we are kind of adjusting our energy, is what I'm hearing. So deep dive into self-love, everyone, this month. Get in your body and listen to those divine downloads, right? Work on our projects, get creative, pay attention to the synchronicities that come your way, and know that you're a manifesting magnet this month. Getting a little tongue-tied whenever I want to say manifesting magnet. Let's say that 5 times. Okay, next up is our soul's journey lesson card for the month of May. And what is the lesson that our soul is wanting us to learn? What is all of this? This is like wrapping it up in a little bow. We got the blame card. Very interesting. This is a little bit about victim consciousness, which I feel very much can lend itself to this oracle card about the Hadrian energy and codependent relationships and lack of boundaries, all of that kind of stuff. Sometimes when we have allowed ourselves to feel powerless in situations, feel powerless in relationships, and give our power away to other people, it can lead us to feeling a little bit like a victim of our own lives. And what's coming through with bells on this month is no, 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 no. We are taking back our power. Okay. No one can make you feel powerless other than yourself. Okay, so tough love from Spirit this month. This is a month to take back our power. The card says, I accept responsibility for my own well being. I feel like this again ties into getting in the body, more self love for ourselves, and now accepting your own responsibility. And I do have the guidebook for the Soul Journey lesson card, and I kept it open because I just wanted to read one little part for you. When you believe that someone else is responsible for your problems, that belief is the problem. Personal responsibility can empower you to change your reality. Lasting transformation always begins on the inside and then works its way out. There's a difference between a reason and an excuse. A reason is valid and unavoidable. An excuse is an attempt to shift the blame. So focus on where you have given your power away this month. This reminds me a little bit about the forgiveness message that comes through so often, that forgiveness is a gift that you give yourself. It doesn't mean that you think that whatever you are forgiving was okay. It doesn't mean you deserve what happened, but it does mean that you're allowing yourself not to carry that around anymore and letting it go, right? Seeing the bird like fly away. I see a backpack on somebody's back, and then it being opened and this bird flying away out of it. So I love that image. Okay, so there we go. I feel like that all resonates and meshes together very well. I'm going to take a moment now and close my eyes, and we're going to start with an animal totem and see what wants to come through. And this is random. Okay, I close my eyes and I immediately see something in my mind's eye. And yes, it is a bird, for those wondering, because I was just talking about a bird, and maybe there's a reason that I was shown a bird. Although the bird I saw is not the bird that I am now bringing forward for us. So I'm just giving it a Google as I do every month. So can you guess which bird I saw as our totem for May? I'll give you a second. Seriously, tap in and see if you can think about what just came forward. If you guessed a mallard, you would be correct. It was a mallard, and that's literally what I heard, a mallard. Okay, so mallard ducks symbolize adaptability, grace, and emotional depth. Their vibrant colors signify varied aspects. Spiritually, they inspire embracing change, connecting with our emotions, and navigating life's fluctuations with resilience. Love that a lot. Just gonna quickly look, looking at living in harmony with nature's rhythms. We did talk about rhythmic kind of energy this month. In Irish and Scottish Celtic mythology, the mallard duck represents ideals like love, fidelity, and marriage, and the strong family belief. Okay, beautiful. So that's that relationship piece as well, right? And aligning with like-minded energies, taking your relationship deep dive and making sure that everything is healthy and going well and is in our highest and best good. It also says, observing mallards interact eloquently, signifying deep listening, understanding, and synchronicity between partners. I think that's really an important message as well, and fits with what's come in about with the Oracle and the Soul's Journey lesson card for sure. Okay, so now let's see. Okay, we've got a number. Okay, so the number that came through was 37, which is interesting, right? 37. Let's see if we can pick something up. So it says, higher powers are divinely guiding you along the right path. Turn to them in meditation and prayer for guidance, answers, and reassurance. The ascended masters like the path you have chosen and want to help you. Okay, I love that. So 37. Oh, this is interesting. So it says, how to meditate using the number 37. Sit with your back straight. Look at 3 feet in front of you. Look about 3 feet in front of you. Look relaxed and unfocused. Try to find a comfortable position and do not move. Breathe through your nose. And as you breathe in, silently say the number 37 twice. And as you exhale, silently say the number 37 4 times. Concentrate on the breathing and the number practice, but keep your senses open. Interesting. If you try this exercise for a longer time every day, you will definitely find a reason why the number 37 appears in your mind or in front of your eyes. Now, the reason I'm sharing that is because I think that would be something kind of neat and a little exercise for you guys moving forward this month, not just with the number 37, but with any numbers that you're seeing on the regular. So we did talk about synchronicities and divine downloads this month. So if you're finding you're constantly seeing a certain number, 222, 1234, 1111, like whatever that number is for you, this would be a good kind of exercise for you as you're in your mind or in your body, right? As you're doing that in the zone, active meditation, painting the fence, washing the windows, whatever you're doing, and ask yourself, what does that mean for you? That's what I always tell my clients when they're like, what does it mean that I'm seeing 1111 all the time? And I always say, well, you could give it a Google if you want to. But what I feel is the best thing to do is to ask yourself what it means, right? And then to take it a step further, what were you just thinking about? What were you just looking at? What were you just doing? What were you just talking about when you saw that? Because I feel like that is just a way that spirit goes, hey, awesome. Good for you, right? The universe, the spirit world uses what is in our own reality to validate something. So if they're like, oh my God, it's 11:10, it's about to turn 11:11, and I want to send her some kudos, a thumbs up, because she's doing a great job with what she's doing right now, what she's thinking about right now, what she's working on right now. I'm going to make her look at 11:11, right? So I feel like that's why it's always best to focus on what you feel it means for you, and also what you were just doing, saying, thinking, etc. Okay. And I want you to think about that also when someone like me brings through, the Mallard and the number 37. Like, don't just be married to those things. Those things come in for the collective with general guidance. However, there might be something else that's in pain that's, showing up for you constantly all the time. Okay. So I want to empower you and encourage you to work with your own intuition here as well. Okay. So let's end with a color. The descriptions this month. So descriptive. Let's see. If I can type, it'd be great. Let me see. Okay, so I'm just going to go with this, okay? So I heard a specific color, but I heard it very descriptive, okay? So rather than yellow, I heard goldenrod yellow. And I'm just like, what? Goldenrod. So do you remember last month when we had the color green come in? But it wasn't specifically just green, it was moss green. And then after I recorded, I made sure that I included the spiritual kind of significance of not just the color moss green, but moss in itself, right? Because it felt like moss was being highlighted. And in doing that, I realized just how aligned the spiritual meaning of moss had to do with
all of the messages that came through for us. And so that feels like that's being done again today. Okay. So goldenrod, it says, what is, okay. So it says spiritual meaning of goldenrod. Because of its ability to survive in diverse, harsh environments, goldenrod represents good luck and a pioneering spirit. I love that. Goldenrod can bring luck to many situations. Let's see if I can do that again. Can bring luck to your money situations. Amazing. This is cool too. This is really interesting. It says some folks seem quite keen to use the plant goldenrod as a dowsing rod. Now, the reason I think that that is really cool, that twice in the last few days, someone that I know has talked about buying dowsing rods. So Kara, who was a podcast listener, she got some and told me about it. And then last night, Nicole, who I follow on Instagram, is a fellow Nova Scotian, went live and had her dowsing rods and was doing a live where, we could ask a question. And so I went on and I asked a few different questions and I thought it was so cool. And I was like, I've never worked with dowsing rods before. How interesting is that? So interesting that this goldenrod plant that comes through that represents resilience and a pioneering spirit, pioneer, new beginnings, right? Inspired potentials, right? Planting a seed. I feel this is all very much aligned with the month of May, and I'm quite excited for the month of May based on the energy that I feel coming in. And I hope you are too. And I hope you enjoyed this episode. And I will be back very soon and share some new client stories with you and some spirit stories and what's been up with me. I look forward to that next week. And by the way, it's 10:10. It's 10:10 on my clock right now. So I'm going to take a moment. What was I just thinking about? What was I just saying? What was I about talking about? Well, I was sharing with you that I felt like May is going to be a really good month based on the energy and that I was really excited about it. So there's our validation, 10:10 on the clock. I hope you have a wonderful day and I will see you next week.
If you have enjoyed this episode, please consider hopping on over to wherever you listen to your podcast and giving it a 5-star review. Thank you so much in advance. If you'd like to keep in touch, please head over to my website, theintuitiverising.com, to keep up with all the things that I have been doing. I also have a private Facebook community for people just like you. It's called the Intuitive Rising Community. All you gotta do is request to join and I will let you in. Keep rising.